Most people will spend their entire lives chasing money and never realize they were playing the wrong game from the start. It's not because they're lazy. It's not because they're not smart enough. And it's definitely not because they didn't work hard. The truth is far more uncomfortable than that. Money doesn't come from effort alone, and it never has. In fact, some of the hardest working people in the world remain stuck, while others quietly build wealth at a level most can't even imagine. Why? Because before they ever made $1 million, they learned something most people never do. Here's the part no one tells you. Self-made millionaires don't think the way you think. They don't move the way you move. And more importantly, they mastered a specific set of skills early. Skills that completely changed how they see opportunity, risk, and money itself. Most people will never learn these, not because they're difficult, but because they're hidden in plain sight. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. In this video, we're breaking down the 3 skills every self-made millionaire learned before 30, and why missing even one of them could be the reason you're still stuck. The part no one warns you about. You've probably done everything you were told would work. You wake up early, you stay disciplined, you put in the hours. You try to be responsible with money, maybe even cut back on things you enjoy, thinking it will somehow move you forward. But despite all that effort, it still feels like you're not really getting anywhere. The progress is slow, almost invisible. And deep down, there's this quiet frustration you can't ignore. You watch other people seem to break through, earning more, living better, moving faster, and it doesn't make sense, because if hard work was the answer, you'd already be ahead. So you start questioning things. Maybe it's your situation, maybe it's the economy, maybe you just haven't figured something out yet, and that uncertainty can be exhausting. What makes it worse is that you've been following the normal path. Study hard, get a job, save money, be patient. But no one really explains why that path feels so limited, or why it rarely leads to real freedom. So you keep going, hoping something will click, while a part of you knows there has to be more than this. And that feeling, that you're missing something important but can't quite see it, is where most people get stuck without even realizing it. Why hard work alone will never make you rich. What most people don't realize is that the problem isn't how hard they're working. It's the game they've been taught to play. From the beginning, you're told to focus on earning an income, finding job security, and slowly building savings over time. But that system was never designed to create wealth quickly, or even create freedom at all. It was designed for stability, not expansion. And that's where the divide begins. Wealthy people don't think in terms of income alone. They think in terms of skills, leverage, and value. While most people ask, "How much can I earn?" rich people ask, "What skill can I develop that makes me more valuable in any market?" That one shift changes everything. Because income is limited by time, but skills are not. Skills scale. Skills compound. And the right skills can turn the same amount of effort into completely different outcomes. This is why 2 people can work just as hard, but end up in completely different financial worlds. It's not random, it's structural. One is focused on trading time for money, while the other is focused on building abilities that generate money repeatedly and at scale. And here's where it gets interesting, because there are only a few core skills that actually separate self-made millionaires from everyone else. Not hundreds, not complicated theories, just a small set of abilities that, when learned early, completely change your financial trajectory. In the next section, we're going to break down the first of those skills and how it quietly sets the foundation for everything else. Skill 1. The first skill every self-made millionaire learns before 30 is what can only be described as high-income skill mastery. And this is where everything changes. Because while most people are focused on working harder, getting promoted, or saving more money, wealthy individuals are focused on something completely different. They are focused on becoming extremely valuable in one specific area. Not average, not decent, not good enough, but so valuable that the market has no choice but to pay a premium for their ability. This matters because income is not random. It is a direct reflection of value in the marketplace. And value is created through skill, specifically, skills that solve expensive problems. Most people never realize this. They spread their energy across too many things, becoming average at several skills instead of exceptional at one. And in today's world, average doesn't get rewarded. Precision does. Self-made millionaires understand this early. They don't just have a job, they build a skill that generates disproportionate returns. For example, one person might learn basic communication skills and stay stuck in entry-level positions for years. Another person might master sales, marketing, coding, or content creation at a high level, and suddenly the same number of hours produces 10 times, 50 times, or even 100 times more income. Take a simple real-life scenario. Two people start in the same company at the same time. One focuses only on doing their tasks well. The other focuses on mastering persuasion, negotiation, and understanding how money moves within the business. Within a few years, the first person gets small, incremental raises. The second person builds leverage, eventually leading teams, closing deals, or even creating opportunities outside the company entirely. That's the difference. And here's the actionable truth most people miss. You don't need 10 skills to change your life. You need one skill, developed to a level where people actively seek you out for it. That means choosing something that solves real problems, then obsessively improving it through practice, study, and real-world application. Because once you master a high-income skill, you stop being dependent on luck, timing, or opportunities. You start creating them. And that is the first real step toward becoming self-made. Skill 2. The second skill every self-made millionaire learns before 30 is something most people completely overlook: leverage and systems thinking. And this is where the real separation begins. Because while skill number 1 is about what you can do, this skill is about what you can multiply. It's the difference between earning income once and building something that keeps producing results long after your effort is gone. Most people operate in a linear way. 1 hour of work equals 1 unit of output. If they want more money, they work more hours. If they want more results, they push harder. But millionaires think differently. They ask a completely different question. How can I make my effort work more than once? That's the shift. That's leverage. Leverage comes in many forms: people, systems, content, capital, and technology. And when you understand this, everything changes. Instead of doing everything yourself, you start building or using systems that do the work for you. Instead of repeating tasks, you create processes that repeat the results. Think about the difference. One person works a job and gets paid only for the hours they show up. Another person creates a system, a business, an online platform, a digital product, or a team that continues generating value even when they are not actively working. Same amount of intelligence, same level of effort, completely different outcomes. This is why some people stay stuck despite being talented. They rely only on effort, not leverage. They keep adding more hours to a broken model instead of building something that scales. Here's the mental shift that changes everything. Stop asking, "How do I work harder?" Start asking, "How do I make this scale beyond me?" That one question forces you to think like a builder instead of a worker. Self-made millionaires don't avoid work. They redirect it. They invest time into building systems that eventually replace their time. That could mean automating a business process, building a digital audience, or creating assets that generate income repeatedly. And once you see life through this lens, everything starts to look different. Time is no longer the limit. Effort is no longer the ceiling. Because with the right leverage, even small actions can produce massive compounding results. Skill 3. The third and most powerful skill every self-made millionaire learns before 30 is something most people underestimate completely: emotional discipline and decision control. And yet, this is the skill that quietly decides everything. Because in the real world, it's not just intelligence or opportunity that creates wealth. It's what you do consistently under pressure when emotions are pulling you in every direction. Most people lose because they react instead of decide. They chase excitement, panic during setbacks, quit too early, or jump from one opportunity to another the moment things get uncomfortable. Their decisions are driven by emotion in the moment, not by direction over time. And that inconsistency is what keeps them stuck. No matter how many chances they get, they sabotage progress with short-term thinking. Millionaires operate differently. They understand that emotional control is financial control. They don't make decisions based on fear, hype, or frustration. They make decisions based on outcomes they want months or years ahead. That means they can delay gratification, ignore noise, and stay committed long after others quit. Where most people react, they respond. Where most people panic, they plan. This is especially important because wealth is rarely built in moments of excitement. It is built in moments of boredom, uncertainty, and discipline. The ability to stay consistent when results are slow is what separates those who eventually win from those who restart over and over again. Think about it like this. Two people can have the same knowledge, the same skills, and even the same opportunities. But one gets emotional after a small loss and quits, while the other stays steady and keeps executing the plan. Over time, that difference compounds into completely different realities. The mental shift here is simple but powerful. Stop trusting your emotions to lead your decisions. Instead, train yourself to think in terms of long-term identity. Ask, what would the version of me who is already successful do right now? Not what feels good, not what feels easy, but what aligns with where you are going. Self-made millionaires are not emotionless. They are emotionally disciplined. They feel the same fear, doubt, and excitement as everyone else. The difference is, they don't let those feelings drive the wheel. And that control is what allows them to stay in the game long enough for success to actually compound. How the three skills work together. When you step back and look at these three skills together, you start to see something most people never realize. They don't work separately. They form a system. And when that system is complete, it changes everything about how money is created. High-income skill mastery is what gives you value. It's the foundation. It's what makes people willing to pay you in the first place, because you can solve problems at a high level. Without it, you have nothing meaningful to scale. But on its own, even a strong skill can be limited if it stays trapped inside your time. That's where leverage and systems thinking comes in. This is what takes your ability and expands it beyond your personal effort. It turns 1 hour of work into repeated results, one action into multiplied outcomes. But even leverage fails if you can't stay consistent long enough to build it properly. That's why emotional discipline and decision control is the final piece. It's what keeps you in the game when things get slow. uncertain, or uncomfortable. It's what stops you from quitting right before things start to compound. It protects everything you're building. And when all three work together, something powerful happens. Skill creates value. Leverage multiplies it. Discipline sustains it. Remove one, and the system breaks. But when all three are aligned, the results stop being linear. They become exponential. This is why most people stay stuck while a small group moves ahead. They are not playing the same game. One group is focused on effort alone. The other is building a complete system of value, scale, and control. And once you understand this, you realize success was never random. It was structural. You don't look at money the same way anymore. Because once you understand these three skills, something subtle but powerful changes. You start seeing what most people completely miss. You see why effort alone isn't enough. You see why some people rise while others stay stuck, even when they're working just as hard. And that awareness changes your direction from this point forward. You're no longer chasing money like most people do, hoping it will eventually show up through hard work and patience. That version of thinking belongs to the old game, the one most people are still stuck in without realizing it. Instead, you're starting to understand something deeper. You're building the skills that create money. You're learning how value is formed, how leverage multiplies results, and how discipline protects everything you build over time. And that shift is everything. Because once you see life through this lens, you can't go back. You stop thinking in terms of hours and start thinking in terms of outcomes. You stop asking how to survive and start asking how to scale. You stop reacting to life and start designing it. That's the real difference between staying where you are and becoming someone who builds something bigger than themselves. The truth is, most people will hear this and move on with their lives unchanged. But a small percentage will actually pause, reflect, and start thinking differently from this moment forward. And those are the ones who eventually separate themselves from the crowd. Not because they got lucky, but because they saw the game clearly. So here's the only question that matters now. Will you stay in the old way of thinking? Or will you start building like someone who understands the rules? If this opened your eyes even a little, make sure you stay with this journey. Subscribe, because what comes next will take these ideas even further and show you exactly how to apply them in real life.